Taking well. Live from New York, and I'm actually in Babylon today. So, hi, Babylon. Hello, hello. How you doing, Agnes? How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Ryan?
Good, good. On this holy and auspicious day, it is Good Friday, uh, in April 7th, 2023, and we're going to be talking about sacrifice, change, and renewal in this particular show. So I'm hoping that you guys will hang on and listen as we go through some of the things that are a part of life here at Love, Death, and Taxes. So once again, I'm Ryan O'Neill Williams, and my co-host here with me is Agnes Amasano of New York Tax Resolutions and Bookkeeping LLC. You know what I keep doing? I keep talking about the website. That's what I keep doing
Yeah,
because the website is in my tax resolution. And as you can see, mine is there. It says, canyoumarketme.com. That's a relatively new thing where we're just building websites, just building websites. I've always been doing social media marketing and trying to get things out on video like this, but now we're building just really quick, really fast websites because we've figured out a few things, including using artificial intelligence to generate a lot of the code that we use to write in our websites. But
very cool.
it
Very
is clearly a lot of people probably think we would be talking about taxes today because we are still in that season, right? Next week is the
next week.
deadline. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Next
Next
week we
week
can.
is
Yeah.
you
Some.
can calm down, but there's still
I,
gonna be people who are freaking out all next week, right?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
have some
So
materials that I want to share, but next week will be the time
you
that
want
we
to
will.
do that next week, or you want to do? You sure?
Yeah, we are doing that. Today is a Good
Will
Friday.
it be too late? I'm just saying, will it be too late for these?
Just some explanations, not telling people what to do. I'm sure that a lot of people, already did their taxes and file them, but just a couple reminders so they would not be surprised why the refund is this or that or.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we were great, great, great. So that's great. But on today being a Good Friday and was thinking about and or as and yesterday was Passover, which generally those two things come together because most people
Yes.
know that the crucifixion and Jesus being a Jew himself, like literally was in a room where they were celebrating the Passover meal when he got
Yeah.
called out to go to the thing. So those two occasions usually come at around the same time every year, and I do get touched, and I was just saying this to Agnes before we got started that yeah, that as a as an Anglican choir boy, I was I was always very moved by the music and the this occasion and the conversations around this time about the sacrifice that's being made, about the change that comes and the renewal that comes, all in the time of spring, but also specifically around the crucifixion and Easter, right? So I wanted to talk about some of that today, right? And we have a lot of that that's constantly happening, right? It is what it
It's
is.
constant. Yes, it's constant, but I think it's a perfect time to
Mhm.
apply the change and the renewal into our lives. Remember the sacrifice, depending, of course, of everyone's religious
Yeah,
beliefs. Um, but I think it's a perfect time to apply that into your life, no matter what situations you are in.
yeah,
I told you before, I just came back from a beautiful lunch with my neighbors. One of them is moving, living there after 58 years, and we
yeah,
were talking about how her life changed after her husband passed away 18 years ago, and she had to adapt to certain things. Now we're gonna have, we're losing her, a beautiful, beautiful person, beautiful neighbor. we are all affected, and we have constant changes in our lives. So now with Easter, the renewal and change is so appropriate, so called for. And not only thinking about the sacrifice that Jesus Christ did for humanity, how much he did for us to help us to be happier, to have better lives, but
Mhm.
we need to apply those changes to be happier ourselves and have better lives. As either from renewing promises to ourselves that we're going to take care of ourselves better, uh, implies certain changes, either taking care of our lives, of our health, or removing toxic people from our lives that we talked before. It's time for that as well. With you know, just think about. To me, this is coming hand in hand because spring is coming. Beautiful flowers are blooming. You want to be surrounded by serenity, beauty, calmness, and this holy week, that's what makes us think about. That's what brings in our lives that time of reflection, what we are all about. What do we really want in this life? So with Easter, I think all those good things should happen, and we almost see that as a rebirth, that new personality, that to bring beauty and calmness and love in my life into the surface, and enjoy that and do whatever I can, promise to myself to keep that and keep going from that point forward. How do you see that?
I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's interesting that it's kind of set up that way. I don't know if they meant this or it just happened. Like maybe greater minds than us, of course. We're sitting in a room and just thinking about this. I mean, if you think about it, Lent in and of itself is a time of sacrifice, like the 4 days, 40 nights that happened before this, and you're supposed to give something up. I know a lot of people who give things up and then go right back to them afterward. But
Yeah.
my understanding of Lent is actually supposed to be that you're supposed to choose one thing that is not good for you, or maybe a sin that you commit on a regular basis, that you did say, you know what, I'm going to spend 40 days and that'll create a habit in me, or destroy a habit in me that keeps me going. So that in and of itself is sacrifice, right? But when you think about either Jesus putting himself on the cross, as Christians believe, or the sacrifice of the Egyptian children, so that their sacrifice in order for the Hebrews to leave Egypt. I'm getting real macabre, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
the truth is, I watched. What did I watch the other day?
The passion.
No, it did that was good, but I watched the older one. God's Gods and Kings Exodus. It had
Okay.
so basically it's the story of Moses. That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
is. But it's done so well. Like, I don't know, have you seen that version of it? It's like it's one of my favorite characters, the guy who plays Batman, and Patrick Bateman in the American Psycho series. But then he and it's also done by Ridley Scott, who, although he's into the supernatural and creating monsters, he set it up so that all of the things that happened before the giant Passover and the sacrifice like make sense. Like, he had God decided, okay, we're gonna have these crocodiles and they're gonna go after the people, and then because of that, the Nile turns red, right? So it's not just because it turns red. It was blood because the crocodiles were attacking all the
Yeah,
people
yeah.
and everything, and one another. Then, because the river is red, all of the life that's in it, all the fish and everything, they start dying because it's too much blood in the. And then the flies come because they're dead fish, and then you know what I mean. So because it's
One
so,
thing led to another.
yeah,
Yeah.
thing like leads to another, which completely like made it so much more believable and made it, made it so much sense. I was like, you know, this could happen. And even when they're crossing the Red Sea, you know, as Moses is leading the people out of Egypt and the Red Sea, it's not so much that the water like just turns up and then there's these two walls, because if you've seen the old Charlton Heston Exodus, it's like two walls on the side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Graphics weren't too good in that movie. No.
Yeah. But in this one, kind of the water just goes down. It's like a low tide. And if you know anything about tidal waves, that's what happens with tidal waves.
Yeah.
When there's a far earthquake that goes in, the earth opens up and the water falls down in there, but then it comes back. So it's like they had a certain amount of time to get across, and then the water comes in and smashes all the Egyptians.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is, yes, here is sacrifice. Then, of course, there has to be change, because you can't just keep on doing what it is that you were doing. And then, hopefully, on Sunday, we talk about Easter and renewal and rebirth.
Without the change, the sacrifice will be pointless.
Yes. Listen, one of the greatest things, the greatest ironies, I think, in life is that change is the only constant. In other words, everything changes except the fact that change is coming. Change is always coming, no matter what. And I think that's fantastic. And you have to be able to say, okay.
And you have to be able to cope with that.
Yes, and be cool with it. Be cool with it. So your friend, she's moving down to Florida.
She's moving. She's not exactly thrilled about it, because who the heck wants to leave their house? And you know, we talked about how difficult it is to selling the house after so many years, and moving on, and the memories you have to say goodbye to, things that they have meaning to you, and to somebody else it's a piece of trash. You know, it's very personal. That particular thing is very personal. Just like in the bereavement group, I'm seeing that people are having difficulties adjust to changes, to the new normal. It's very, very difficult process. But myself, one thing about me, I'm adapting to changes, to new things very quickly, just because for me, I adopted that idea of change as such a part of my life. And this is like, okay, I have to breathe. The change is coming. I'm looking forward to certain changes. Doesn't mean that's what's going to be the outcome of it, but I always try to keep positive outlook and keep moving on, and push others towards positive changes, because to me, it's such a sure part of life that there's no other way. There's just simply no other way. But
a lot of people don't want the change. They don't want anything to change. They want everything to stay the same way. But if you can, it's just the nature of what we are. We age. The world around us starts moving faster. It's almost impossible to sit back and
not everyone ages. I don't. I'm 28.
That's a whole different thing we're talking about.
But no, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Yes, we do age. We with age, I noticed that I see certain things through different set of eyes. You know, maybe the glasses help. Maybe I see clearer. Certain things I do change my view on certain issues, because life experience does that to us as well.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It is the experience. That's exactly what changes everything. Like eventually you look back and you can see patterns and realize, oh, I wasn't paying attention. That's why I should handle that this way or handle that way. But eventually we get there. And I think the beauty of it is that, like you said, you looked and said you knew change was coming. So why not prepare? Just be prepared for it. Sometimes you don't. I know there were things in my life where I was like, no, I don't want this to change. I wanted to stay the same way. But it had to. And by putting so much energy in trying to make things stay the same way, sometimes you hurt yourself. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because if you were just gone with the flow, instead of trying to swim upstream against the current, you'd have been fine. You know what I mean? Or maybe you'd have gotten out of the river and gone done something else.
Those
But
things that, yeah, those things that you talk about right now, they're like things that sometimes there are problems. This is the way I look at in life at things that people call problems. There are issues to be resolved and issues that I cannot resolve. The ones that I can resolve, I'll do it, whatever I can do, move on, and that's it. The ones that I have no influence on,
right.
I'm not going to swim against the stream. No, I'm going to let it flow, let it go, and move on. And I am so committed, especially this year. I don't know why this year, maybe because upcoming age or whatever, but especially this year, I'm so committed to renewal, to
Yeah.
to through the sacrifice, going through changes, to renew my life, to renew my outlook on life. I am excited about it. I am really like so happy, and
That's good.
it's just wonderful thing. It's uplifting.
You have to though, right? If you like I said, if you feel bad about it or feel trepidation about it the whole time, you're going to be in trouble. And for those of you who are like, say, that's easy for you to say for whatever reason, you have no idea how much trouble, how much change is going on in my life right now. Like a whirlwind of stuff. And this year, as it turns out, I am turning 50. So I'm kind of looking at it, and yeah, midway. I'm making it to 100, baby. I'm trying to make it to 100. So that's number
At
one.
least
But then
107.
yeah, that'd be great. but the idea is, yeah, if you know that the change is coming, that you try to make some sacrifices. You got to get up a little bit earlier. You have to work out a little bit more in order to actually have that renewal and rebirth and have things say, boy, there are so many things changing around me right now. I don't even know.
There is, and I look, beginning of the year, I made a list. You are on my list.
Oh, look at that.
There will be, if I'm going to be successful, there will be more changes coming in your life. So absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
just gotta kick my butt sometimes. That's what it is. Sometimes you're like, oh, am I gonna be able to do it? And then some days, this week, for example, it, things just were flowing, and I wasn't worried because I wasn't worried. I knew this was a time that it's kind of a deadline, right? So you gotta
Yeah.
get certain things done. But if you know that it's just know it is coming, and you put in the work, you followed your discipline, it should come. So next thing you know, it came. Just stick to it, stick to it. And so for those of you who are looking and saying, what? What do you mean? How do you guys know that? Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna make a couple of suggestions, right? And you should do some too. I mean, we're not going to stay too long today. It is
Hmm.
Good Friday. I'm gonna let you go have your fish or your vegetarian meal, whatever it is that you guys gonna have today.
Yes, and the
um,
kids are coming tomorrow, so I'm
yeah,
preparing for tomorrow. Yes, so it will
yes,
be
that's
fun.
right. So that works out. Meditate. And I'm gonna tell you, definitely do some meditation. As in, sometimes it's just breathing. Let your mind do whatever it wants to do, but sometimes you just need to do some breathing. And if you're able to just calm down, do some breathing, that's one. But I would also tell you to write down things that you are very grateful for that happened in the past, acknowledging how you had a challenge. You were saying the word problems before, and I was like saying to myself, I know what she means. She's trying not to say that word because that's a negative word, but
Yeah.
it's the challenge. The challenges that you have gone through. To this day, you're still here, right? And you didn't realize that you could have. Write those down. Like, I don't know if you are the kind of person who will go back and read whatever it is that you wrote, but write them down. Just because sometimes when you write them down and see them, you're like, how many? There are like 50 things here that I got through. That terrible things, depression, a loss or whatever it is, and you still made it. You're here. So meditation, to some breathing and thinking, and definitely some reflection and acknowledgement of things that you've gone through. And then the last thing I would say is to look forward to something new. And when I say look forward, I'm not saying be unrealistic. I'm saying set a goal to try and do something. It doesn't have to be something crazy. It could just be, hey, I'm going to walk once a day for the 4 days a week or something like that. Or I'm going to, tell people thank you. Find one person, tell them thank you, something on Sunday. But move forward so that you're not always stuck and feel like there is no change. But that's what it has to require, a little sacrifice for the change to get to your renewal, right? That's what I'm
Yes,
saying. I'm gonna pass it off to you now. Go ahead. You got you got some
um,
tips.
I do. See, love. When sacrifice, with sacrifice and a change in the renewal, love has a lot to do with it. When
Mhm.
we love somebody, we are able to give more from us to that person and take care of that person. We do it because we do a lot of things because we love that person.
Mhm.
So, how about loving yourself? I learned 15 years ago finally to love myself. I start taking care of myself. I
Yeah.
start prioritizing myself, my needs. Not to sound very selfish because I do give to others but a lot of people forget to love themselves.
If you can't put on the mask on your face so that you got air, there's no way you're going to be able to reach over and help anybody else. If you help
Exactly.
them first and then you pass out and die, now what happens,
Yes.
right? All right,
So,
go
uh, do I love myself? Yes. Am I happy with who I am? God, yes. So, but that way I am, people maybe will be more drawn to me. Maybe I'll be more better company for others instead sitting in and moaning and bitching about life and just throwing, oh, this is me, my problems. And no one wants to be around a person like that.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants
So by first, finding your happiness and being happy with yourself and loving yourself, because you cannot expect anyone else to love you until you love yourself. I keep repeating the same thing. This is too much of a responsibility to dump on someone. Oh, you're gonna make them happy.
that.
No, you be happy yourself, and then we talk about the rest. So,
Right, right, right.
but
Very
yes, to
true.
renew that, and things, any aspects in your life, things, people, places that pull you down, that makes you depressed, just remove them. Renew yourself, be a better version of yourself. That's my advice to everybody. And like I said, I am extremely excited about few things that they coming up, and that I'm renewing myself. What can I say?
That's
my
right. That's
my
good. That's all
spirit,
renewal. You
yes,
think
my
about it.
spirit,
Yeah.
it's going to be renewed, and I'm waiting till this Easter Sunday to start. Like, I already set up my way of thinking. I reprogrammed myself a bit, and I am extremely happy with my decisions, and that makes me even love myself even more.
Good. Very good. Very good. Well, I think that's an amazing way to end this particular episode, ladies and gents. This is Love, Death, and Taxes, where we talk about the inescapable things that happen in life. And basically, if you think about it, that's what this show is about. This show is literally about change and the things
Yes.
that you cannot escape, and you have to kind of roll with the punches to move forward about. And then, yeah, it's some sacrifice. And after April 14th, hopefully you have renewal and you're not messing up all your taxes the way you were before, or you got your business moving forward. Either way. But yeah, ladies and gents, if you are you want to send us some mail, that's our address. It's mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com. Send us an email if you want to hear about what it is that we're going to be talking about next, or if you want to make a suggestion about what it is we're talking about next, send an email to mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Very well.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gents, I say goodbye. Have a good until next week. I'll
Bye
talk to you soon.
bye.
All right,
Happy
bye.
Easter.
Happy
Bye.
Easter. All right, sorry.